What is up, my brothers from another mother? We have a reach request. Let's hop straight into it. I have an announcement about these types of requests, so watch towards the end and I'll deal with that then. But let's hop right into it. This comes from a 22-year-old male. Lives in New York City, just got out of his first breakup. So this is probably going to have to do with a one-itis breakup, I would imagine. As of right now, I'm 1 month past my ex ending a 2-year LTR. Well, card up on the top right of the screen about what I think guys in their 20s should be doing. If you've got a propensity to be needy and have one-itis, getting into LTRs in your 20s is not a great idea. But I'll save the 10-minute video for that link up there on the top right. Anyway, safe to say this breakup has devastated me to my core in many ways. I know the feeling. I mean, there's probably a lot of you guys out there that know the exact same feeling, and I've been through it a couple times. It's one of the many things, I suppose, that leads men dealing with the trauma to the red pill. Anyway, devastated in many ways. This woman was my first, losing my virginity, being involved with her. Oh my God. 2 years with the same girl that you lost your virginity to. Okay, I can see this is going to be tough. As for how I met her, I reconnected with her after college, having just briefly known her in high school. We quickly got close and soon got in a relationship. As someone who would describe myself as shy, not having the best self-esteem, I let this relationship quickly become the center of my life in terms of emotional and social value. I live in a family of 5, 2 brothers and a mother and father, with both my parents being together. Okay, that's good. However, my mother and father essentially run a small business on their own, with my father being very much focused on the business, and he was and still not often not home. Okay. Why don't you spend some time with him in the business? It might give you an opportunity to get a little hands-on approach to the real world, masculinity, and understanding those dynamics, because there's so much struggle and there's just so many obstacles that fall in the way as an entrepreneur. I think every guy, if you have a father that basically runs a small business, I would be looking to spend as much time with him as possible. You know, apprenticeship phase can last for years. You're going to be his little bitch. He's going to treat you like a bitch. He's going to have really high expectations for you because you're his son. But it's a great life lesson. I'm not going to bang on that too much. But anyway, even on the weekends throughout my life. See, now what I see you doing here is he's not around. He wasn't often home, even on the weekends throughout my life. You know, guys are masters of complicating their lives and then justifying why they did it. All you're doing is pointing and sputtering at your dad saying he wasn't around for me. When you're a grown-ass adult, you're in your 20s, you probably have access to, legs, a bicycle, a bus pass, a car, or whatever. Go to the business and help him out and spend some time with the old man. Don't play the victim card. I see a little bit of a victim mentality in that statement. My mother would be the one focused on running other parts of the business and raising her kids. Physically, I recognize I have nothing to worry about. I'm hovering between 6'1", 6'2", weigh 190, and have some muscle. In your 20s, you're probably a little bit skinny at that weight, if I'm being honest, around that, because I'm just under 6'3". I think probably my fittest, I was about 204, 205, so maybe, something to consider there. Anyway, though can be proved. However, I, for much of my life, have avoided social encounters, stayed at home, and used video games and poured for escapism. Gee. Not much time to hang out with pops at the family business, if you're beating off and playing video games. And I'm not saying that to be a dick or to try to be disparaging. I'm just pointing to the cold hard facts. Again, I hold up the mirror, point to the facts. That's all I do. I don't have some of the sort of social impairment. I can hold my own in social settings, okay? But my childhood lacked having a consistent social circle, having moved between schools. And well, it's good that you acknowledge it. It's good that you recognize it. That's okay. It's a good start. I mean, now do something about it. Execute on it. Having moved between schools at a younger age, growing up, it was very difficult maintaining friendships that carried me over until graduation. I attended a respected commuter college. I guess that's community college. Honor specialized. College degrees are bullshit. I've talked to them periodically throughout my content creation, and I'll tell you right now, the best education that you could get as a dude is working with your old man in the family business. I would even say trade a 2 or 3 year program for a 1-year apprenticeship being your dad's bitch. You'd learn so much more about the real world. Sitting in the classroom and taking notes is not as useful as actually hands-on, getting in the kitchen and feeling the heat. Anyway, you've got a business degree in operations management. So I graduated with no specific goal or passion in mind. but just to be the safe option, graduate with a relevant degree while interning and working at my parents' small bit. Okay, so you did some work with them. I'm currently working at my first job and saving up most of the money while living in my parents' home up to a month and a half ago, spending time with my ex. Okay, as for my ex, her father left her mother for another woman at a very young age. I'm assuming that she's probably got abandonment issues then, which kind of ties into borderline personality disorder, which is always a fucking nightmare. And dealing with severe depression towards the end of college. Her mom and herself are also not doing financially well. So, okay. I let her be a massive part of my life due to the lack of social circle, and I neglected throughout the years. And of course, this has backfired on me massively. See, what happens when you make a woman the focus of your life and then she ups and goes and runs away with Chad Thundercock? You're left with your empty life going, what happened? How did this happen to me? How did I go from in control, understanding what I'm doing as a dude, to out of control with this empty place in my heart? I get it. Anyway, in the spectrum of letting women be your life versus part of your life, exactly. How many times have we said she needs to be a complement to your life, not the focus of your life? The moment she's the focus of your life is when you run into these problems over here you're talking about. I strayed way too far into the former. I let myself be way too comfortable in the relationship, thinking through blue pill lens that would last a long time. Of course, because all you have to do is be exclusive with her and be monogamous and she'll never go away, right? That's what guys have been told. That's a narrative that almost all men have been sold. I definitely use it as some sort of escapism. Well, being with a pretty girl that's young and having great sex is always going to put you in that mindset. You're always going to revert to some beta blue-pilled softy, thinking that doing that is the right thing and is going to make her stick around. I now feel like a lack of direction in my life and incredibly isolated. Well, that's what happens. That is exactly what happens. This is a perfect example of why that happens. I'm in no condition to date or consider another LTR, even if I had the opportunity. Well, you're lying to yourself about this. You're just telling yourself that. I wouldn't even consider an LTR in your 20s. Again, the card was up on the top right of the screen. But you are in a condition to date. If you're alive and you're 6 feet above the ground, not dead, you're in a condition. So, you can figure it out. We'll get into that in a bit, I'm sure, towards the end. I had the opportunity. I recognize that I need to update my belief system, and I know that I need to take some charge of my life without prior. Okay. Okay. Sort of kicking myself that something dramatic is breakup fun. Well, it's trauma that leads guys to the red pill, so that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. We all know that's true. I don't want to waste my time letting this breakup and the intense emotional turmoil I received define me. I recognize I built my mental and emotional well-being on a very rocky foundation, and I want to take steps to break out more of myself. Thus, I immediately took up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and plan to follow up on that with Latin dancing classes just to increase my social circle while also combining that. Great. Those are all really, really good exercises and things to do. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a martial art, makes you think about your mind and body and that connection. Latin dancing is great, especially salsa dancing, and lots of attractive women that like that. It's a very sexual kind of dance. You will do well in that environment. You'll have access to attractive, fit women. You won't find obese feminists in there or anything like that. You're going to have very feminine, attractive women. Some of them get really sucked into the whole dancing circle, but it's a great hobby and place to have exposure to that sort of stuff. And of course, the gym. Pick up heavy shit, put it down. In terms of professional development, I'm not sure what my calling is. I'm getting way too worried about it. Sorry, am I getting way too worried about where I am in terms of my career path? We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, hang on a sec, bud. I'm going to have to call you back. As somebody who's turning 23 and feel that my life has sort of a reset in a way post breakup, which is not much of the social circle, and I need to build my self-esteem. What sort of tips, advice would you give to a younger brother from another mother moving forward? Okay, tips. All right, where are you? Let's go full screen, big head style. This is what I think you should be doing. One, again, watch that video on dating tips for your 20s. I'm not going to spend 10 minutes on that because I've already covered it. So watch that. Two, you need to become red pill aware and apply it to your life. You're not applying these basic premises to you as a dude. I mean, you're focusing on yourself. I get the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the Latin dancing and the gym. I don't know why you're working for somebody else. I wonder if there's something that you can do to kind of move into the family business. I'm not saying assume it, move into it, take it over, or anything like that. But if you haven't spent at least, I'm going to say at least a year, maybe 5,000 hours working in the business, you haven't had a good feel of what it's like. I'm still a firm believer that you shouldn't let education get in the way, you shouldn't let school, the school system like universities and colleges get in the way of your education. The best education you can get as a man is getting out there and doing shit with your hands, falling down, scraping your knees, cutting yourself, getting back up, starting all over again. Most people don't have the benefit of having a mentor in their early 20s, access to them for free, aka your parents and your dad especially, and spending some time there. So consider that as a potential option. Do not get into an LTR in your 20s. Spin plates, date multiple women simultaneously. I mean, there may be cream that rises to the top, and you can decide to drop the other plates at that point in time. But you've got a strong propensity, a strong. You're going to default to beta-tized condition again. I mean, even if you go and read the 7 books, I'll put that card up on the top right. You should watch that video as well and consume that content. Very good for men, young men that want to take ownership for masculinity. Check that out. But even if you were to read those books and then continue on your current path, you're probably going to revert back to your old beta-tized conditioning. I've mentioned this before. This is a line that we got from Carl from Black Label Logic. Most men end up into a state of beta-tization by 1,000 concessions. And if you're starting out not in a very strong masculine alpha state, if you get into an LTR with a woman, you're just gonna go soft. You're not gonna get stronger. So you have to be able to maintain the frame. You've got to be able to make yourself the focus of your life. You got to work on yourself. There's a big demographic of guys that just say, "Well, fuck you, Rich. You don't know what you're talking about. You're placating women. You're whatever. Shut up." I don't listen to people like that, and neither should anybody that wants to become a better version of themselves. You want to make bank, you want to make money, you want to be successful, you want to have access to beautiful, attractive women in your life. I mean, you're a tall guy that is young, that has ambition, that is willing to do the work. Some people are not willing to do that. So I tip my hat to you for that. That is my tips and feedback based on what I've read here. I fed back throughout the video, so I hope that has been useful to you. Just keep going, brother. I mean, you're doing the right things and going in the right direction. You're not there yet. Don't think you're going to be there for a few years. Essentially, the blue pill conditioning and the person that you are today comes from 23 years of societal programming, from the indoctrination system of the school system, from the programming from marketing and commercials and television and sitcoms and radio and news and family and religion. That's why you got these crap results that you got. You know, if you don't like the results that you're getting, you got to change your beliefs and make better choices. And that's going to take some time. Somebody asked me in an AMA once on Instagram stories, which I did a couple weeks ago, how long does it take to update your beliefs to function with a red pill lens? And my answer is essentially, as long as you were blue pilled, essentially. You're going to default to your original conditioning and your beliefs. Especially in times of crisis, in times of trauma, heartbreak, difficulty in your relationships with chicks or women if you're going the exclusive route at some point. So you got to be aware. You got to be aware, and you got to do the work. Some guys will say, "Hey, it's not worth doing the work. Women aren't worth it." Fine, do whatever you want. I don't care. But if you're willing to do the work, you want to make bank, you want to be successful, you want to have access to attractive women, you want to put your little dent in the universe, you're on the right path. So again, tip my hat to you. Thank you for the reach request. It helps little bits, with the channel. Of course, I'm going to go and post this on the, you didn't ask me to make this private, so I'm going to post it on the channel at a later date so you can get feedback from the community. So there's guys out there, leave a comment below. I also want to introduce you guys again to the website. It is entrepreneursandcars.com/request. So these exact same reach requests, rather than going there and setting up a profile, you can actually go straight to my website now. It's at the end tab, which is at the request tab, or you can just go .com/request, and you just sponsor video topic, the exact same way you did this. Name, email, subject, video, and then there's a PayPal button down at the bottom, and you submit your request, and we are good to go. So same thing, same. It's just a little bit of an easier system. I want to thank you guys for your support and the creation of the content. And again, if you have a request, you know where to find me. We can do it that way or the other way, whatever way you want. See you guys later. Peace.